All right, it looks like we are live. Hello, everybody. So, if it looks like I'm looking away from the camera, that's only because we have two cameras going today. I am doing this on YouTube and on TikTok tonight. So, welcome, everybody. I hope you're having an awesome day. I hope your day has been great. And I'll give everybody a moment here just to jump on. Welcome, Jadelle. I hope you're having a great evening so far. And tonight we're going to be talking about automation. We're going to talk about building an automated online business, working from home, working 2 hours a day. We've got some great information here to share with you guys. So I hope that you'll stick around and enjoy. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is David. And I got to tell you guys, I could help Gen Xers go from financially stuck and stressed about retirement to confident, independent, and building real wealth with a fully automated online business that anybody can run with just 2 hours a day. And that's the awesome part about all this. Now, look, guys, I've been in your position where you're looking for something. Maybe you're like, I've had enough. I've worked a long, long time. Maybe you've worked since you were a teenager. Maybe you got your family and stuff, and you're like, you know what? I'm missing out on so much, and you're looking for something. Well, hopefully, by the end of this, guys, you're going to see that this is a great opportunity for you. And we'll kind of go from there. So as I go through this, guys, if I'm looking around and everything, bear with me. Like I said, first time doing this on two different devices. So I'm kind of excited about it. And I hope that you'll find this as interesting and helpful as possible. So welcome, Loverboy. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you guys are here. This is really exciting. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the world right now, guys. If you look around, prices are going up, right? Rising cost of living. I mean, there's no way around that, right? Paychecks just don't go as far as they used to. It used to be that, one income, boom, no problem, be able to save, right? Right now, if you're a Gen Xer like myself, retirement is coming up fast, okay? And, when you start thinking about it, are you one of those people who is prepared for it? Or you like most people, including myself, that retirement just kind of crept up on you really quick, right? Always thought, oh, I always have more time. I always have more time, but it just doesn't seem to happen that way, right? I don't know about you guys, but I didn't want to work until I was 70 years old. Okay, I saw somebody just the other day, a gentleman who was stocking shelves at our local grocery store, and I swear to God, he must have been in his 70s, and here he was working away. And I thought, you know what? I don't want that to be me. And I'm betting there's a lot of you out there that you don't want that either. I got tired of waking up exhausted with no energy for my family, right? The alarm goes off at 6 o'clock in the morning, and up you go and out the door. Before you know it, you're stuck in traffic. You're trying to stop to get a coffee or donut on the way to work. You're stuck in traffic. It's just the same old grind. It wears on you. It tears you down. I've been there. I totally get it, right? And that's one of the reasons why things had to change. It always felt like waiting for a payday to come, and then it was gone. I don't know about you, but if I was lucky, I saw my paycheck for a day, maybe 2 days, and then when I checked the bank, it was gone, right? It just felt like a treadmill. I was always on that same treadmill time after time after time, right? And I knew things had to change. As you get older, for me especially, I realized time was not on my side. It seemed like time was going faster. Have you ever had that feeling where it feels like you blink and the week's gone, or there's a month, or hell, the year's almost gone already, guys? Can you believe it? We're just right around the corner from a brand new year. And I know a lot of people have said they don't know where the time went. Like this year just seemed to fly by. And as you get older, you're going to just feel it. It's going to seem like, holy cow, this year is done almost, right? And I get that. And that's one of the reasons why I needed to find something. And I'm hoping this is one of the reasons why you're here today, to see how this automated business can change that for you. Do me a favor, type yes in the chat if you've ever wondered, is this really all I get? Right? At the end of the day, do you ever just sit back and go, Yeah. Is this it? Is this what my life is supposed to be? Do me a favor, type it in the chat. Type yes if that's you. I'd love to see it. Look, guys, let me tell you my story, okay? Because here I'm talking about automation and stuff, and you're thinking you have no idea what it's like out there, David. Let me tell you, I used to work private security. I worked 10 years going around to all the jails throughout Ontario, picking up all the non Canadians who couldn't behave themselves. I worked nights, I worked days, I worked weekends, I worked holidays. I missed so many events because the job called for it, right? That's the way I was brought up. I was brought up in the fact of you go to work, you work hard, you put your time in, you work 40 hours at a job, and then, boom, you're set and ready to go. You're supposed to be able to retire. Well, I got news for you. That just doesn't seem to work anymore. I mean, it was a great idea, and that's it's how my parents were raised and stuff, and I've seen that happen, but not anymore. It just everything has changed so much. You know, I knew I needed something because I was getting burnt out. I was tired. I was frustrated. I was not a happy camper because of the people I was dealing with at the time. And so, I started looking around and I knew I didn't want another job because another job on top of what I was doing just didn't make any sense. I knew that I needed something. So I started looking around at the MLM world. I started looking around for different opportunities and I finally found something that worked really nice for me. Right. And it was this company with in health and nutrition. I was like, this is awesome. I get this. I can be excited about this. And I spent 9 years there, guys. I spent 9 years building a business. I had a great time doing it. I had so much success. But then one day, the company came along and said, oh, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to do this. We're going to change everything on you. And that moment made me realize that I wasn't actually in control of my income. You know, I was tied to my phone. I was always on my phone chasing people. If I wasn't working, my business wasn't making money. And I got freedom, but not the kind of freedom I was expecting. Now, when that all changed, I was like, okay, there's got to be something else out there. Right. So I tried a lot of other different businesses in the about 8 years of that. And, I had some successes, but I had a lot of failures too. And, the reason I did that is because I never wanted to have a boss. I never wanted to have a job where somebody told me when to show up, when I could take breaks, when I could go home, when I could take vacation. Look, I love to travel. My wife and I, we travel a lot. Okay. And I don't want anybody ever saying, no, you can't go at that time. Right. Especially for my wife and I, we like to pick up and go just a spur of the moment. And that's the cool thing about all this. Right. But I got to a point, guys, where I was getting frustrated. I was like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I do have to get a job. And then just by luck, I was on Facebook and one of my mentors was talking about this automated online business thing. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. That's what I've been looking for. Right. He's talking about digital marketing. And I thought, this is really, really cool. Right. Because there's no chasing leads, no cold calls. I didn't have to be burnt out all over again. And when I realized that, that's when things started to change. So I got in touch with my mentor and I said, hey, tell me about this automated business you're doing. He says, I'm going to send you a website. You're going to take a look at it just the same way that I did. And that way you can make an informed decision. I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. So I jumped in and I looked at it and went over the information and I got excited because I realized that if I follow this blueprint that they have and I did what all these other people were doing, that I could be successful. And that was very powerful for me, guys. Right now we have a community of over 56,000 people from all over the world of all ages that are doing this. And when I saw that, and I realized if they can do it, so can I. I realized the system should work for you and not the other way around. Right. So look, it wasn't that I was broken. It was the business model was just out of date. Right. And now I've got a new one and I'm like, this started to make a lot of sense to me. So I was like, yes, let's do this. Now I got into the e-learning industry, guys. And let me explain why. Right now, the e-learning industry is exploding. Think about it. People are buying courses all the time, right? People want to learn things all the time. Okay, right now, the e-learning industry is doing about $1.2 billion a day. Okay, and by 2027, we're projected to be over $3 billion a day. Now, I don't know about you, but I wanted to be a part of that wave. I didn't want to get swallowed up by it. I wanted to ride that wave, right? The things that really excited me about this was, first of all, no physical products. Okay. So I didn't have to have a garage full of stuff that I would never use. Okay. I don't know if any of you have ever been in an MLM before, but let me tell you, one of the things that they insist upon is you need to buy products every single month, right? You got to be a product of the product, is what we used to say. And let me tell you, it's great at the beginning, but you're buying all this extra product and you're supposed to be selling it. And some of it does add up, and then you do have stuff laying around, and then you're trying to sell it, and it's just a real pain. You know what? Here, there's no physical product. So when somebody gets started with us, they get their stuff instantaneously, right? They can get started. They've got their digital product, and away they go. And that was huge, right? Because again, in MLM guys, I was on the phone chasing people, yeah, I'm interested. Give me a call in a couple of days, trying to get a hold of them once they got their products. Let me tell you, that was a hard thing to do. Some of them were like, yep, I'm ready. But most of them, no. And I got really frustrated with that. And let me tell you, that was hard because, I used to walk around with a list of people I needed to contact. So, when I had a few moments, I'd pull up my list and call Joe and, hey, Joe, it's me again. I got an important question for you. Give me a call back when you can. Right. And, mark that I've called Joe. And when I finally get Joe, talk to him, he said, yeah, I'm interested. Or no, I'm not. I got to scratch him off my list. I thought that was kind of cool at the time. But I didn't realize how much I was on my phone. People used to tease me because I had an earbud in my ear all the time. And it was just the way it was. Right. And that's just the way it was, but not no more. I have not picked up the phone. I have not talked to anybody on the phone about this business since I got started about a year ago. And let me tell you, only time I get on the phone with somebody is to say, hey, how you doing? It's great to chat with you, that kind of thing. But don't have to do that for a business anymore. No selling to friends and family. That was another big thing. Again, a lot of MLMs are saying, hey, make a list of 100 people. Somebody out there is going to be wanting what you've got. Well, those don't work. That's way old. If somebody's telling you to do that, it's time to find something different. Automated systems run the business even when you're not online. Think about it, guys. I see leads come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, at 6 o'clock at night, when I'm not on my phone, when I'm busy, either eating, sleeping, a lot of time when I'm sleeping, when I am, spending time with my wife, when we're traveling, it happens. And that's the really nice thing. You're going to learn how to build your business in 2 very focused hours every single day. Okay. And if you can follow a blueprint, you can rock this business. Now, the nice thing I liked about this with digital marketing, guys, it's a global business. Again, with MLM, you were restricted to certain countries, certain areas, and that was it. Here, because it's digital, if they can see you, they can buy your product. That's awesome. Think of all the people you're able to reach with no limitations. That, for me, that really just opened up the world for me. I'm like, okay, I've always wanted to have people in Australia. I've always wanted to go to all these places around the world, and now I can advertise there. I've always wanted to go to London, and I thought this would be cool. I could build a team there. I could, build something, and then I can travel there and make money from there. It just, all that kind of thing really excited me about that. And this is perfect for Gen Xers like myself. Okay. Number one, you do not have to be tech savvy. Okay, guys, if you think that you need to be really tech savvy to understand this, let me tell you, you don't. That's a really nice thing because the system's already pre-built. It's already ready to rock and roll. You just need to fill in your information and follow the steps. Okay. You already have life experience. Okay. So you already have the experience of going, oh, I know how to deal with this. I know how to deal with that. No worries. Your work ethic is your superpower. Because again, Gen Xers like myself, we've been taught and trained, do the job, focusing on the job. Well, now imagine just focusing on 2 hours a day, guys. What would 2 hours a day do for you? Think about it. Think about what would you do with the extra 22 hours throughout a day? I know some of it you'd be sleeping and eating and stuff like that. But think about how you won't miss your kids' games, your grandkids' games, how you can spend more time with your spouse, how you can pick up that hobby that you've been putting off because you just don't have the time. Well, now you can. And here's another nice thing. A lot of people think, well, I can't quit my job. Great. I don't want you to quit your job yet. I want you to build this around your busy schedule. That's the joy of this. That's what makes this so exciting, because we can all find 2 hours throughout a day. Okay. Whether it's an hour in the morning, an hour at night, whatever works for you. It's your schedule, your time, but you got to be willing to say, okay, 2 focus hours every single day. I'm in. So let's see. So what does it teach? Okay. We got something called the Legacy Builder Program, guys. And this is what I'm talking to you about today. And I want to break it down a little bit for you. Okay. So you've heard me talk about it teaches you how to build an automated online business in 2 hours a day. Remember, it's a focused hours, right? It teaches attraction marketing. So there's no chasing customers. They come to you, which is really nice, right? Because last thing you want to do is jump into people's DMs or, post something and say, it feels creepy. I've had people kind of jump into my DMs and approach me about some other kind of business. I'm like, no, if this is how you do your business, I'm not interested. I don't ever want to bother people that way. I want people who are interested to come to me and look at my business and say, that's for me. That's what I'm looking for, right? It's going to teach you how to build a following using social media, just like this here, guys, right? It's going to teach you how to use social media properly so you can find your people, your tribe of people who want what you want. You have what you offer, right? You're offering something that makes sense to me, right? I'm not reaching out cold calling people, which is, again, something I truly love about this. It's going to teach you how to add multiple streams of income, guys. So maybe you start with one, maybe you'll do 2, 3, 5, 10 streams of income. I've seen people in our community who have 10 or 15 different streams going right now, and they learned how to do this with our program. And that's what's really exciting. You start with one, but it can be so much more. And it's totally up to you what you decide to do. And the next best thing is it teaches you how to build an email list. And your email list is your money. Okay, these are your people who have said, yes, I want to know more about what you're doing. These are your people who are like, you got my interest. I want to know more, right? So it's really important to have that email list. So what do you get, right? You're like, okay, David, that sounds really cool so far, but what do I get? So you get a pre-built automated website. We call it the Freedom Machine, okay? You're going to get a done-for-you funnels, email automation. So again, you're going to put in your information, you're going to follow the training, and you're going to be all set up that way. Again, really exciting in that aspect. You're going to get step-by-step training, which is really important. Guys, I've tried a lot of things, as I've said in the past, but if you don't have the proper training, it's really frustrating. Here, this is some of the best training I have ever seen in all my years of working online and working from home. It really makes a difference. You're going to be joining a community of over 56,000 people from all over the world. And these people, guys, they're just like you and I. They're doctors, teachers, they're home students, they're nurses, they're security guards like myself, stay-at-home parents. They're people who have just lost jobs, maybe. They're everyday people. And they're so supportive. We're here to support each other, to encourage each other, to answer questions and help you move forward so you can build the life that you want, right? There's 0 monthly fees. It's a one-time investment, okay? Think about it, guys. One-time investment could change your life forever. And that is really, really cool. So, guys, there are 4 different programs here, okay? And I want to tell you a little bit about them. And then, so you can make an informed decision of which one you're going to start with. First one is the Launchpad. This is the very basic one. This is $100. It's a great program to get started. The next one is the Passive Daily Pay Blueprint. Okay, this is the next level. It gives you a little more information and stuff to help you really start growing your business. Then you've got the Digital Mastery, which is another great one to start. Again, it gives you more information. And the last is the Legacy Builder program. This is the one that I talk about the most because that's where I started. And the reason I started with this one, by the way, it's $900. People always ask me and I always forget. Now, the reason I started with this one, guys, is because I wanted to make the most profit possible. Because if somebody purchases one of the other 3 programs underneath me, I make money there. Now, if I started at the Passive Daily Blueprint and somebody jumped in and said, I want the Legacy Builder program, I don't make any money, right? I don't like leaving money on the table. And I'm pretty sure you don't want to leave any money behind either. So you have to decide which works for you. Now, let's just say, for example, that you started off at the Passive Daily Pay Blueprint, and that's where you can start. Awesome. Let me tell you a secret. Okay. You can upgrade when you've got the money. So, you've sold a couple of programs. You're like, yes, I'm upgrading. I want the Legacy Builder program. Awesome. You can do that. That's what's really cool about this. So remember, when you're starting with the Legacy Builder program, guys, you actually got 4 streams of income started. So you got to decide which is the best for you. Now, look, if you already know where you want to start, if you already know, like, this is what I'm looking for, I'm so excited about this, that's awesome. Do me a favor, click the link in my bio, put your information in, get signed up, and let's start building the business together. Now, maybe you're not ready there just yet, and that's okay. No problem. But I just want to talk to those people who said, I get it. I've seen some of your videos. I've seen your lives. I'm ready. You've answered my questions. So for those people, like I said, guys, make sure, click the link in my bio. Okay. Put your information in. You're going to watch some videos. Okay. First video is going to be me welcoming you. I'm going to introduce you to my mentor, and they're going to walk you through step by step everything that you need to know about the Legacy Builder program and how to get started. So we'll go from there. All right. So let's get back to the rest of us. Okay. Now, I'm like a lot of you out there. I didn't jump in right away. I needed more information. So let's keep talking here. So the destination, where does this all lead for people? Like, it sounds really cool, but let's talk about what the destination might be for you. Imagine waking up one morning without an alarm, without that alarm going off at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, without having to, run around and try to get ready to get out the door. Imagine being able to, grab a cup of coffee and sit down and spend time with the kids or spend time with your spouse, right? And just kind of ease into your day. Imagine being able to work those 2 hours every single day. And that's it. That's all it takes. You get to spend more time with your family, with the people that you love, and not with a boss and all those other people. I mean, sure, some of them may be awesome people that you work with, but we all have those people that, we will not miss when we are able to walk away from a job, right? I know I was one of them. Imagine being able to say to your spouse or to say to your kids, hey, let's take off to Disney World, or let's take off for a vacation this weekend and just go without any worries whatsoever. That's the power of this. Imagine daily deposits hitting your account. Now that's really powerful, guys. Imagine waking up, looking at your phone, and it says, congratulations, you just made X amount of money, right? This person signed up. Awesome, right? Business runs while you sleep, while you travel, while you're laughing with your family. That's the power of automation. And that's just some of the things I want you to think about. That's the destination. Look, if you're tired of always being on, build a business that works when you don't. That's when somebody said that to me, everything started clicking. To build a business that works when I don't. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I love that idea. Let's talk about, what if you don't do anything? What's the difference? Well, how about another year passes and nothing changes? So you go through all that stress that you're going through right now, right? Your pensions are shrinking. Costs are going to keep going up. So this time next year, it's going to be X amount more than it was this year. And we're seeing it all over, right? There's not like we're anywhere in the world that I know of, at least, where the prices are going down and you're going, yes, we're good. You know, kids grow up while you're stuck working weekends. Guys, if you've got kids or grandkids, you don't want to miss those moments. You don't want to be going, well, I'm sorry I had to be at work, right? Those moments are once in a lifetime, and you want to be around for as much of them as possible. The fear of regret hits harder than the fear of starting. So think about it. If you're like, oh, I don't know if I should do this, let me tell you, the fear, the regret is a lot stronger, guys, than the fear of starting. So I encourage you to get started. I encourage you to take control. I believe that you can do this. Why do I believe that? Because I'm a guy who barely got through high school. I'm a guy who's like, semi-dyslexic. And if I can figure this out, so can you. And if 56,000 other people from around the world can figure this out, so can you. There's no difference in that aspect. So remember, I want you to click the link in my bio. All right, it's time. It's time to take control of your life and say, I'm in. I want to make a change. All right. This is the perfect time. This is it, guys. Right before the new year, get in there and start building your business so you can make this time next year the best years ever. Okay. The best time to start, I'll be honest, was like 10 years ago, right? But the second best time is to start is right now, right here today. And look, if you need more information, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm here to help, right? Message me, guys. I'm always available to answer questions. So listen, I hope that you've had an awesome time. I appreciate your time today. And I will be doing more of these lives on a regular basis. So, make sure you come out here and say hello. And thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you. I hope that you have an awesome day. And I look forward to talking to you again very soon. Take care, guys.